A man who had a front row seat for all of it was Joe Vardon of The Athletic. He joins us right now on the Rich Eisen Show. Joe, how you doing? Are you still over in France?
I am in London.
And
Yeah, just a nice little layover here for a day before I make the flight home tomorrow.
and the way you said it sounded like I am in London. It's almost like you kind of picked up the English accent over there while you're over there as well, man.
Yeah, I mean, this is my second trip to London this summer. You know, we came through here as part of the Olympic preseason tour with Team USA. So yeah, I could see that maybe and maybe even a few we's and mercies mixed in there on top of it.
Official citizen there, man. I know you enjoyed your time. Just watching this team this year, obviously a lot of expectations on Team USA basketball, the men's side and the women's side, obviously. But what you saw in the last two games, especially against Serbia and against France, what do you come away with watching that team?
Oh my. I mean, I think that the Serbia game may have been one of the greatest wins in USA history, certainly. And then the gold medal game against France in Paris, an actual true road game in a championship, that's probably the toughest environment that a USA basketball team has had to play in. So, you know, I start there. Then I get pretty quickly to the part where like I think as a nation, as a basketball loving, sort of basketball dominant nation, we need to understand that things have fundamentally changed and it doesn't matter what team we bring to an Olympics, who we throw out there. Winning is no longer guaranteed.
Mm-mm.
Uh, it took, you know, four of the best players of all time playing together at an extremely high level to narrowly avoid losing in the semifinals. And then you take that same great team, and for the second Olympics in a row, so it's like whether it was the hybrid team with Durant and Dame Lillard and Drew and Booker, and then you have some role players mixed in, or you have this super all-star team. France was again within 3 points with like 3 minutes left. That's two gold medal games in a row. So this is the deal. So if you want to compare this team to the dream team, it's an almost impossible comparison because the competition was so much different.
Mm-hmm.
But the way we celebrate the dream team for the dominance and sort of the style and the bringing the game global like the dream team did. I think we need to celebrate this team for having been able to rise to the challenges that were created by that dream team.
I think you're absolutely right. One thing I can give this team a lot of credit for is having a lot of heart to be as many points down to Serbia in the third quarter and then fight back and to be in an all-out battle against France in hostile territory with all the expectations on Team USA, because anything other than a goal is a disappointment for this basketball team. To see Kevin Durant go out there and play defense the way he played, I mean, that in itself says something about it. But, you know, LeBron James was phenomenal. He was named the MVP, but Steph Curry, lasting memories. I mean, you're there, you're watching it. We're watching it on television, and we're amazed. What is it like in the arena when Steph just does what he does in that fourth quarter against France with those four big three-pointers late?
Now, you keep talking about all these wonderful Olympic memories, and I keep thinking about all the French red wine that erased all these memories. But no, to your point, so the MVP voting is a little funny. They put up a QR code in the media room starting before the semifinal.
Oh,
So, and anybody basically like it's media and then FIBA experts. So I'm not even sure who that entails. But basically, it's like if you have access to that media room beginning on the semifinal round day, you can cast your vote. And LeBron had been the Americans' most consistent player. Certainly, if you go past the Olympics and include the 5 game exhibition season, and you know we were covering that every day, and ESPN had done a lot of coverage on it. So like everybody was up to date on how the U.S. had been playing. And so I think that's how LeBron gets the MVP. I mean, for Steph to have 36 and then I think 26 and to make 17 threes in the semifinal and final in games that they probably would have lost had Steph not made those shots. He, of course, is the MVP for this tournament. And I think actually, like, this shouldn't have been the case. That a player of his level and with his resume and career could somehow add to his legacy, but he did with those 4 shots. 4 threes in 3 minutes. The last one being double teamed by 2 taller players with 2 wide open guys, teammates, and he just threw it up there, and of course it splashed, and that was the end. So yeah, I mean, I feel like, I've been there for a lot of Steph Curry's great moments, covered every championship that he's ever won, including this one now. But this one, the way he did it, he made the comparison, like winning an NBA finals, there's more to it because you have to play for 9 months. Mm-hmm. This is such a sprint, but the feeling of accomplishment, he said, in the short term does feel similar. And I will walk away from this, remembering those 4 shots and the signature that he left on the last 2 games.
Yeah, NBA Finals, you win 4-7. I mean, in the Olympics, it's almost like playing in the NCAA tournament. You lose 1 game, and that could cost you the gold medal there, depending on when you lose that game. But talking about those memories, I was talking before the show, and I believe that those 4 shots, that sequence of events with Steph Curry is the most memorable sequence of events ever in USA basketball. You got to go back to 1972 in a bad moment for USA basketball against the USSR when they had when they had the controversial time put back on the clock. But this, as far as good memories are concerned, this is the one we'll be looking back at 30 years from now and still be amazed.
I think so. I mean, like, you think about the dream team and you think about Michael, going up to the scorers table for the gold medal game. You think about like some of the Vinsanity dunks. Certainly the Redeem team and Kobe Bryant running through teammate Pau Gasol in an early game against Spain. Mm-hmm. You remember that, but it's just, like to your point, the NBA team, there's one time where they sent NBA players and lost in an Olympics, and that was 2004. Mm-hmm. But never has a team this good been this legitimately challenged. Like, it wasn't like they weren't playing well. It wasn't like they were underachieving. Like, this was all real. And so, like, for them to come together as they did and meet that challenge, I think you could really make that case that this is the best story or that, should be the most celebrated, like however you want to slice it. Like, they really did something in Paris.
They did. I mean, they took care of their business. But once again, like you mentioned, the rest of the world seems like it's catching up. I mean, even in the NBA right now, you see a lot of foreign players. The last 4 MVPs have been foreign players. I mean, 3, of course, by Jokic, Joel Embiid, who played for Team USA, could have played for France, could have played for the African country as well. So the foreign players, thanks to the dream teams, are catching up. Do you ever see a time, though, like maybe even in LA, where Team USA might not be the favorite going into the Olympic Games, even though they've won 5 straight gold medals, even though they send some of their best NBA players over there?
Well, I wrote about this. It's on The Athletic right now. The what's next, and a lot of it has to do with what kind of team does Team USA want to send in 4 years. Is it another all-star type roster, or is it more like what we've actually seen in the past few Olympics, where there are some stars and then some high-level, very specialized role players that can fit in different situations and otherwise aren't that concerned about having their minutes cut? It starts there. The United States is always going to have more depth, I think, than any opponent, and that includes France, who will send in 2028 a team that has Victor Wembanyama mm-hmm. and Koulibaly, and then there are 4 players, from France who were drafted in the first round of this past NBA draft. None of them were on the national team now. They could all be there in 4 years. So to your question, will there ever be a time where the Americans aren't the favorite? I mean, ever maybe, but that won't be the case unless Victor has become so far and away the best player in the league by then that that odds makers decide that he can change outcomes of games on his own. Being the favorite is a lot different than this idea that we're all used to about almost guaranteed success. The guarantee has been gone for a while, but still most of us, I'm different. Like one of my jobs is to cover USA basketball full time. But for, us, meaning Americans in general, we tune in about every 4 years and we remember the dream team and we know it's 12 NBA players and we forget how many NBA players are now from other countries, and B, we don't understand how much better the other professional leagues have gotten. We are getting a lot closer to soccer than we realize, where, there's a Premier League over here in the UK that's amazing, but there's also a great league in France, and there's a great league in Spain. And then they all, then they have their Champions circuit, like based on the best teams from every league, whatever. The Euro Basketball League is like getting there. And there are French basketball coaches from the national team who tell me that they think that there are 3 or 4 teams currently playing in the Euro League that could beat the Pistons.
Wow.
That could beat Wemby Spurs. That could beat Koulibaly's Wizards. So you put those two things together about the top level NBA talent and then how good these Euro leagues are. That's why the rest of the world is able to compete with a team that has LeBron, Steph, and Durant on.
I would love to see an NBA All-Star team go up against a European All-Star team, just an All-Star team, like all of Europe against the United States, just to kind of see if we got that, because when we talk about world champions, you always talking about the NBA champions, but now with the world catching up with the NBA, maybe we need to actually see who the real world champion is. Before I let you go, a lot was made about a player who didn't play a lot, and Steve Kerr took some criticism, but one thing I give him credit for is he played to win, and he put the best team out on the floor with the matchups considered that he felt like could help that team win. And Jayson Tatum seemed like he was an odd man out in a lot of those games, and people were up in arms about that because obviously he's a first-team All-NBA player, just won a championship. Over there, was that getting as much play as it was over here? What was the talk and the attitude from some of the players and even Jayson about that, about his role on his team this year?
Yeah, I mean, I think because of the buzz that was being created back home, I think everybody sees that here, and it was certainly a topic of discussion with Jayson. He addressed it with a gold medal around his neck. Like, think about this, the Jayson Tatum summer, he wins an NBA championship. He gets a $314 million new contract, birth of the second child, cover of video games and whatever. And then now he wins a gold medal and he's standing there talking about the personal disappointment of not playing. I think that if you're if you are on the side of the debate where that these tournaments are way different than the NBA and you're trying to win, that a coach has to make a tough decision about only playing a few certain guys, and that Tatum lost his minutes to Devin Booker, who was exceptional. But if you're on the other side of the debate, you can't hear this. It doesn't matter how many times you try to explain this idea about a rotation and only 40-minute games and the position that Derek White plays against the position that Tatum plays, that Tatum would have had to steal minutes from LeBron, Durant, or Booker. How is that going to happen in this tournament? But that doesn't land for somebody who's just thinking, this guy's a 3-time first-team All-NBA player, perennial All-Star, and he's now a champion. History will judge Steve correctly. Or fairly, because he won.
Yep.
So he did it right.
Yep.
But what matters now is what Tatum thinks about it, because they need him back in 2028.
They definitely need him with the young talent along with Anthony Edwards and others like that who we mentioned before. Joe Vardon does an excellent job for The Athletic, covering the NBA and basketball, and he joins us here on the Rich Eisen Show. Come on back home, man, before you lose your U.S. citizenship, brother.
Yes, sir. I'll be right there. Thank you.
All right, Joe. Safe travels to you, man. Thanks for joining us here on the Rich Eisen Show.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.